We're live.
Yay, we're live. Alrighty, so number 86. Beautiful day, beautiful number. 86 is good. Yeah, we've been doing for a while. Me and Luis, we're doing this podcast, Develop Your Mindset, and it's all about that. So hopefully you guys are watching and listening and understanding what it's about. And we got some really good one again today, as usual. Appreciate you guys, those of you who watch our show, and we are working to expand to go further energy into it. We don't want to force it. We're looking for organically how it's going to grow the show. So we're doing a lot of different things. We're using a lot of different topics, and also like how we're gonna write the, how do you say that when you write about the video, like the
The description.
description. Yeah, like we're doing a lot of different descriptions, how to, and then we're trying to learn how we're gonna grow organically, because that's where the real thing is, like so. And so this week again, I gonna take the podcast into very different dimension, such as some what we went through at work, other what individual goes through, and spiritually and emotionally what you go through during different kind of you know um, forced environment or journey environment, or organized or non-organized. This is where we're going to take this one. So I think, yeah, you can say hello.
Of course. Hello. Joe, we're here. Like you said, we're going to share a couple of new things with you guys. And yeah, I mean, we're always looking to grow organically. Like you said, I mean, that's really the best way to do it, because we always want to be authentic, and we want to be able to, express our ideas here freely, as opposed to, trying to conform to some sort of like rigid type of guidelines, where we're sort of confined to just share certain ideas. We want to be able to share pretty much everything that we know. And so that applies also to, once in a while when we bring guests, we want them to feel comfortable and be able to, share whatever it is that they want to share. So, yeah, I mean,
Nice.
yeah, I'm excited. Without further ado, we can get started.
Let's do it. Number one. This is, remember, this is number 86 podcast, and this is number one question of that. Does your pet have restarts in the micro starts? So yes, I want to talk about myself, because I feel like, if you guys know my story, about 6 years ago, 7 years ago now, when I had my crash and I restarted a little bit different. But I have to tell you guys, it hasn't been like a walk in the park, right? So it has been, if I looked the whole thing, how it happened was like, it's pretty smooth, pretty easy, pretty, like, I knew where I was going. I've been always going to that direction. Little bit of change here and there, a degree this way or that way, but the whole mission has not been so easy, because a lot of times, because it's a bigger deal than one person. It's always like been really like it kind of like slows down, and or kind of like stops, kind of like gets out of the line a little bit, and then I have to kind of like, as I'm sure you guys go through this too, like you have to kind of like stop, think about it, come back to the same path that you're on, and then am I doing the right am I going the right direction, am I doing the right thing, so you have to kind of like always have, does your path has restrictions? Like sometimes it's out of your hand, like there's something happens there, like you probably have to move the office, or you have to move your house, you probably need to change your car, it's a different car, it's there's so many things you have to change in Like in a working environment, you probably have to agree on stuff that you don't want to agree on, and it's if you don't, then there's a held back. Like there's some stuff that is happening that you're not too fond of, but you got to find a way. You got to go. You got to go to the direction of where the success is, where the where you want to be, and whatever it takes. Like we always talk about. I always say, like, whatever happens here, it doesn't matter as long as we're gonna get to what we're working towards. It's not gonna be that easy, that simple. There's nothing like that. That's why a lot of people give up, because it's on the in the journey. There is like where no matter how organized your journey is, there's always wrinkles, and there's always hard edges, and then some people don't want to deal with it. They just want to stop and go back, be like, fuck this, I'm done with this. But others are, fuck you, I'm gonna work harder and I'm gonna make it work, like whatever it takes. And that's my approach, and it's what you have to do to continue the path until the path gets bigger and larger, and you get to the beautiful, the nice place that you want to be. The next part is micro starts. There's always something, man. Like maybe the software is not working. Maybe the tool is not working. Maybe the client needs to go. You have to bring a new client. Maybe the computer is not compatible with what you're doing today. And maybe there's like all these micro changes nonstop. You're changing towards to the direction that you want to be, you want to get to. And if you stay with wearing the same clothes, that's not working. What the fuck? Like, you have to change. You have to change according of the needed component to get to the direction that you want to go to. Like this is what I do, and what is the word? Like, I'm very open-minded in this. Also, I'm very there's a word for it where you're not religious about this. Like it's and nor you're racist about this. You have such a one track of mind about this that you just do whatever it takes to get there again. And I just don't want to be like blocking myself. I just want to open the road and to get to that place. And so be ready to do micro changes. It's very good, very healthy, and it will help you to get there easily. And yes, we're welcome.
Sorry.
I think that pretty much, I described this part because this is how I kind of see it do it.
For sure. I mean, definitely the parts where you mentioned about like the technology part and like the software and like things not going right. Definitely, that's an area where I can definitely relate, as I've faced a lot of adversities and times where things just didn't work there. But
For sure.
but like you said, you just gotta find another way. You just gotta stick through it, figure it out, do your research, try new things, and eventually you'll find a solution to it. And so, tackling the first part of this, I think this is probably one of the worst things. Like somebody who loves, like in the previous podcast, we were talking about strategy and like,
Right.
having a system. And
Right.
so this is probably one of the worst things that can happen, that, your whole thing falls apart. You had things in mind, you were organized, and then things just start coming up left and right that weren't supposed to be part of this plan. And now like everything starts to sort of crumble. And then, sometimes these things can be really major to the point where they're just completely like, you have to rewrite your entire strategy. Sometimes they're a little bit small, so you can like deal with those things and then get back to your strategy. So
Right.
so yeah, but sometimes when it's major and your system does fall apart, then you just have to accept it. You just have to embrace the fact that happened and recognize, why that even happened. Because eventually, like the first times and do things like these, eventually you're gonna face some sort of adversities like these because you're not experienced, so you don't quite know. Like you're probably preparing for the most obvious things, but then there's certain things where they're not as obvious to you, and so they may come from left and right. And so only with experience will you be able to prepare yourself a lot better and create a system that prepares you for those things as well. And so you just have to accept it, embrace it, and create a whole new strategy for the next time. I don't think this is a reason for you to just stop doing what you're doing completely and just go into like isolation and feel depressed about it, because it happens. This is gonna happen, no matter what. Even right now, perhaps you have a system right now that's going well. You never know when that system can just collapse. I mean, it can collapse tomorrow, it can collapse in a year, and so you have to be ready for those things. And yeah, I mean, always finding a way. That's why it's important, like you said, to have strong goals, have a strong purpose, because that will keep you going. If it's not as strong, then it's very easy to just give up on the first time that something like this happens. It gives you a good excuse to just be like, oh, you know what, I had a plan, like I was going to do this, but my fault, like that thing happened out of nowhere, and it entire thing, so it ain't my fault. If that thing wouldn't have happened, I would have continued. That's
being successful.
Yeah, that's not a good way to see things. Instead, embrace it and just be like, okay, this was, take responsibility for it. Because ultimately it kind of is your fault there, because you just didn't prepare yourself enough. But that's fine, because like I said, with experience you'll be able to prepare yourself a lot better. And so yeah, I mean that's that. And yeah, pretty much the micro stars. What were the micro stars?
What do we have? Micro starts. There's a lot of
Trying different things.
no, like micro starts, meaning like the reason I say micro, because sometimes it's severe enough where you come to complete halt, and then you don't agree with giving up, and then you just start again, but you're confused when you start. You're like, what the fuck am I doing here? Or like, am I doing right?
Sure.
And like, I'm calling that micro because it's like it drops and comes back up.
Okay.
You don't stay crushed.
Oh, okay, for sure. Yeah, so I guess in this sense, at least you're taking some sort of action to try to like pick yourself back up, after you've confronted some sort of big halt or something major happened. So I think these are great, because sometimes when you face those things, you may be paralyzed for a little bit, depending on the impact that it had, depending on what exactly it was. Maybe it was very severe, and so it affected you mentally or physically. And so there's you're a little bit like you don't know what to do, but it's always better. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, you're in the phase of being that way. And so it's good that you still take some sort of step to get yourself out of that.
Yeah.
And the more action you take, the more your mind would just come up with whatever the solution is, faster than if you were to just sit around and wait for the answer to just come to you, or wait for somebody to come and help you. Because those things just they're not very proactive. They're very like you're just kind of leaving it up to faith, or you're just not taking responsibility really for whatever your purpose is.
For sure, like I've been imagining when you're talking to me about this, because the thing is like, like growing up, I've seen a lot of younger people where they're not ready for these kind of things. They don't have the tools to, fight through this kind of things, and they're easily hurt, and they're like they can't accept the defeat, or the has changed for them. And you in reality, it's all about you can create your own path in like while you are going through this one other path, because for each person is a little bit different, getting the same place with the same path. It just happens differently. Like some people does 3 stops, some people don't do any stop, and then they eat their sandwich while they're driving or whatever, when they're on their path. It's very different for everyone. It's not the same exactly. So the outcome, hopefully, it's going to be this kind of like better than what you expected. But you just have to endure it, man. Like, life is tough, man. Like, and also short. You can't mess around with life. The days, the other day I was talking to Nana, and she was like, "Oh, take a break." I'm like, "No, I'm not going to take a break. I'm going to tell you why." I'm like, Sweet 16, go on internet and buy that day again. Let's have another Sweet 16. I'm like, they don't sell it, man. There's no place they sell days. Like, the day is yours and it's gone forever. Like, next day is the next day. Next day is the future. And today will be the old day.
Yeah.
So like that's why you just have to really like take this shit seriously. Whatever happens, just go through it. Hard, easy, tough. Fight with your demons. Fight against fucking all kinds of monsters and shit, and then just go forward. That's what we have to do as a human. Like we have the mechanism in us. Like, we are resilient. We're built like that.
Yeah.
So, anything?
No.
Okay. Let's go to the next, which is very different but about the same. Does your path bring roadblocks? And falling out of focus and possibly shutting down. Ooh. Roadblocks is there's always happening. Like, there's always someone's trying to sabotage you. There's always something's happening to like get you out of your getting that place. And you just have to be very careful with roadblocks. You just have to know how to get around them, and you have to have a very sweet mouth and very determined that you need to do this to get to the next level until you get to where you wanted to get to. So don't be afraid of the roadblocks. I'm not. It just happens, and then sometimes you just have to come to full stop. And I do. We do come full stop sometimes, and then we just have to look through it and then kind of like evaluate it and then see what we can do. There's got to be something. Then you just have to take the leap. Just have to go. You have to just go and try to see if that's going to work. Sometimes you won't, but you come back to the roadblock and then you do it again until you find a path to go past that point. And falling out of focus and possibly shutting down. Out of focus is, you gotta stay focused, man. Like, you can't do 10 things. You can barely do 2 things. If you don't have the manpower, then you have to come back to the one thing that you're doing. Try to make that work, because you can make one thing work really, really big, like really big, much bigger than you can expect that it's going to work out. So you got to know where to put the pressure, where to put the focus, and don't fall out of focus. Like, it's so easy to fall out of focus. You just do, and so one day you wake up, you're like, you don't feel like going to work anymore.
Yeah.
You don't feel like getting out of the bed. And, they call that depression. They call that out of focus. They call that whatever. But possibly shutting down is pretty much in blackout, and you're gonna be in that place, and it's very easy to be in the. And I'm gonna kick your ass. And possibly don't shut down, because shutting down is for babies. Okay, so don't be a baby. Be a man. Take it like a man, and go for it. And don't shut down. When that happens, it's gonna happen because of not you. It's because it's gonna happen on. Uh, she's crazy. Yeah, we have someone here that really. We'll talk about it later. So that's going to happen because of what is the word? See, I fell out of track. Focus.
Oh man.
It's going to happen because of other circumstances. That's the word I'm looking for. So if any shutdown happens, any other circumstance, that's fine. Like we had one recently, right? Like the COVID, we were supposed to be closed 2 weeks, right?
Yeah.
And we were closed 5 weeks, and then we came back with all these restrictions. Shit happens. Things happen. You're gonna go through it. It was not our doing, but we had to fight through it. We have to find ways to continue. So there's going to be other kind of roadblocks too. If it comes, deal with it, go out of it. Don't lose your focus on your main objective. So that's the word.
Using an objective purpose to pursue. One of the most important things is for it to be very strong and very personal to you, right? Because that's ultimately going to determine how you respond to these roadblocks, to these adversities that you're going to confront along the way. Because if your purpose is strong enough, you'll find some sort of willpower in you, to be able to confront it and be able to deal with it and keep moving forward until you do accomplish your purpose, whether that's and this can come in many forms, perhaps it's you actually accepting that it was you who made the mistake here, or it was you who caused the adversity, and so you taking responsibility and then responding to it in a way where it's more solution oriented, as opposed to you just complaining and stagnating because of what happened. So when you respond in a more solution oriented format, you're very likely to find a solution. Now, it doesn't mean that just because you're more solution oriented that you're going to find a solution right away. It just means that you will find it eventually. Maybe it takes a few hours, maybe it takes a few days, but eventually the solution will come to you. And the thing is also is that and to have that patience to find that solution, because some people do have the incentive to go and find a solution, doesn't come to them very easily, or maybe the solution is something that they don't really want to do. It could be for like ego reasons or stuff like that. Maybe the solution is actually talking to someone or asking for help somewhere here, or getting help from someone who can assist you, or maybe going and buying a course or something like that, right? But if you're not able to drop your ego and tell yourself okay, you know what, I suck, I don't know how to do this, and if you're not able to accept that, then the solution may be right there in front of you, but even then you won't take it, because there's that ego in front of you. So that's why it's important to have a strong purpose. That way that strong purpose can be able to go through even things like the ego and stuff. So extremely important. And yes, definitely, I think that's definitely going to help you focus in of itself is extremely important, because it narrows down your attention, and also where you put your energy and where you put your resources, such as energy and your money and stuff like that. You know exactly where to put it because you have a strong focus. You know exactly what you want to accomplish. So it makes it much easier to make decisions moving forward, as opposed to if you have no focus and you're just operating randomly, left and right. You're letting people distract you. You're letting the circumstances and things that are happening around you control you that way, then you're not in focus, and so your resources can start getting depleted and being sent into the wrong places. Maybe you devote energy doing this activity and that other activity, you start spending money in places where you're not supposed to, and then ultimately you don't have enough resources any left to accomplish your purpose. You're kind of in a worse place now than where you were. So you got to pay attention to that, and that's why focus is so important. And definitely, if you don't focus, you could end up shutting down, because like I said, you're going to deplete all your resources. You're going to end up in a worse place, and that in of itself can already put you in a place of feeling down, feeling depressed, add on to the fact that you just failed somewhere. Now you just let yourself get distracted. So now you lost even, you refuse to just accept that you failed or that something just didn't go right. What you're doing here is that you're postponing the pain. Instead of just taking the hit right after it happens, you're postponing it. You're like, okay, I don't want to take the pain yet, so I'm gonna go and distract myself and go and drink or go and hang out or go do some stuff.
It's a horrible way of shutting down.
To like not feel that pain. But eventually it will catch up to you though, and it will hit you, and most likely if you do postpone it, that pain is going to hit you even harder, and that's going to be even worse. So might as well just take the pain now. If you failed, if you made a fool of yourself, you're whatever, just take the hit then and there, accept it, and just keep on trying. Try something else. Maybe that didn't work. Okay, fine. Try another thing. Eventually you will get it right, and you'll be happy you did. Once you do actually figure it out, you'll be a much more experienced person, and you'll be able to do whatever it is you want with that knowledge, whether it's to grow yourself or to help others who may be struggling in the same position. But either way, it's good.
That's great points. Like what you said was very crucial, because like you don't want to subscribe to alcoholism or drugs or whatever, like to shut down, right?
Yeah.
So it's very important to be very careful with those, because none of those things gonna help you to get to your destination wherever you're going to. But like I just wanted to add one thing here, which is like I recently, not long ago, little while ago, I started doing a lot of meditation. Sleeping meditation works really well for me. You got to find out what works for you. But those times, those moments, I feel like shutting down. Like for instance, I do my meditation while I have my earbud on my ears, and then I'm in the bed, and I'm just, next thing I know, I'm sleeping. I'm considering that as in shut down in the nicest way ever possible, because that's gonna help me to open my eyes in the morning, like really, really, I went to deep sleep, and that's gonna help me to get up in the morning, go through the journey, the fight, and that's pretty much that kind of shutdown is good, amazing. But the other shutdown that you were describing is not so good. You gotta stay away from that one.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's do the. Could this have anything to do with the individual? And if it does, how can you reveal your mind? Okay, so let's try to break this down, because we're going down the line, how the feeling works, how the process kind of happens. Could this have anything to do with the individual? Like, listen, everything happens in my life that it's happening, that I'm involved in it. It's my fault. If I don't take it like that, there's no way I can work on it, make it better. It's very easy to not take the fault and be like, it's your fault because of you, because of him, because of that happened. It's like, come on, like, how are you going to fix that one? You can't, because it's him, he did it, right? So like it's the government did it, right? Like it's the company did it, right? Like it's out of your hand now. So who's the victim now? You are the victim. Like, I don't know, like you I don't do it. I take everything, even though I have not had nothing to do with it. I just take the fault, so I can fix it if I can, because maybe I can do something about it. So that's where you have to be careful. The individual is the responsible one. You are responsible to your whatever happens to your surrounding, to your action, and not to your action also. And if it does, how can you reveal your mind? I don't know, man. Mind is a strange thing, right? So you gotta train your mind, you gotta fix your mind, you gotta focus your mind, you gotta do stuff with your mind that helps you to achieve things that you want to achieve, not to waste effort, time. So you gotta control your mind as much as you can, because sometimes, especially. Um, what is that? The subconscious mind is sometimes out of your hand, as it does certain things. It says certain things. You hear voices behind your head telling you some weird stuff like go tell him this, and like scream at him, say like, and then but you don't do it, and then you gotta control that little bit. You can't just let it do whatever it wants to do. You just like it's sometimes it's fun. Sometimes when it starts for me now,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my god, here we go. Like
Wow.
let me hear what my mind's gonna tell me. But I don't react to it. I mean, when I was younger, I had friends that they would react to that kind of mind voices or whatever you want to call it. But
Yeah.
that was not cool. I was not happy. Those guys are not in my life any longer because I don't see any, and I don't want to have that kind of people around me. If Not that to say those guys were not good people. They were. That's why they were my friend at one point. But I just want to build something bigger than me, And in order to do that, I gotta hang around with people that they think likewise. Their mind are set almost the same way, and I'm gonna have better chance to get there.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, I agree with the majority. I mean, yeah. So I think it really does take its approach to responsibility for the actions, whatever it is that's going on in your life, because that's really the only way you can actually, take some sort of action, take any steps, to, yeah, either improve it or completely remove it from your life. And so the only way you can do that is if you embrace everything as a whole and really find a way to uh, make yourself responsible and see what actions you can take, because if you don't do that, then there's just no way you can fix it. So definitely, I think it has everything to do with the individual. To of course, that's that. I think there is still though uh, some benefit of letting other individuals know. If you're in a team, obviously, you obviously want to take responsibility for whatever is going on, but also I think it's important to let your teammate know where they can potentially be doing something wrong, because especially in a team environment, because every single member there, whether it's a sports team or it's a company or stuff like that, everybody's responsible for a certain position there. They have certain tasks, and so they those teammates, those people have to be aware of what they're doing right and what they're doing wrong and what they're not doing. And so I think it's important that they're informed. However, you should also take responsibility for the team as well, and be like, okay, you chose these members, you chose them to be there, you chose them
Yeah.
to perform. And so if they're not performing, yes, there is a part where it could be potentially they're not performing, but also it's sort of your fault because you chose to have them there in the first place.
Mhm.
Your responsibility could be either to go and have a talk with them and make it more clear, or whatever it is, or remove them from that or completely remove them from the team. And so that's on you, that's your responsibility. But
It's never easy, man.
but uh but yeah, so that's the only thing I would say about that. And yeah, everything else, I mean, the subconscious part and the little voice talking behind your head, I mean, I don't know what's that all about, but I don't know.
Sometimes you do micro, and those
Oh,
voices start coming a
oh,
little bit louder.
oh,
Yeah,
oh,
man, I had a little episode yesterday, though.
oh, wow.
Oh, shit.
Oh, wow.
You had an episode, man.
You were a little worried about your daughters.
Yeah, I know. I had a few people worried about me, but I wasn't. I wasn't worried about Varj at all. I think he's fine.
We'll make a bonus segment after the podcast.
That's it.
You can share your experience, your episode.
I was being a little bit loud, but that's about it.
Oh, loud, huh?
This
The whole world knows, man. Now,
He was
I'm a
being.
little worried. now.
shit.
The world knows.
Yeah,
That's it, man. Micro.
it was not easy day, man. Sometimes it's not easy. It's one of those days that you gotta go through it. But you cannot waste it anyways either. So you gotta do it, man. You gotta do what you gotta do. Take the responsibility and go all the way.
Mm-hmm.
My fault, right?
Yeah.
Easy.
Easy.
That's how you do it.
Easy peasy.
Yeah. Can you imagine? It's your fault. Like what? Oh, okay. Like how are you gonna do this thing now? Crazy time. You done?
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay. I think knowing, right?
No, knowing.
Knowing the pet.
No, do you know?
Oh, do you know? Oh, listen to this one. Do you know? That's what we're trying to say here. Like if I was looking at the mirror, I would say the same thing to myself. Buddy, do you know? What do you want to do? And ask yourself and find out from your body cells, which is like cells in your body, and your spirit, as in like you, as in your human spirit. So you got to find out, like if what you're doing, you love doing it. Do you want to do something else? Like, do you still want to do what you want to do, as tough as it gets, as strange as it gets, and hard as it gets? Then if the answer is yes, then maybe you need to eat the shit and shut the hell up and just fucking like go for it and do it, and don't worry about how hard it gets, how difficult it gets, because there's nothing easy out there. Nothing easy. Like I've never had anything easy, man. Like, you guys had anything easy? Please comment down below. I want to know which part was easy. But when it comes to me, everything was difficult. Everything took time. Everything in order to have something tangible, beautiful, nice, I had to invest a lot of my energy, a lot of my time, a lot of my education. Had a lot of play in it. Learning a talent had a lot of play in it. Meeting nice people had a lot of play in it. None of those things were easy, didn't come easy. They were all difficult. You had to go through a lot of diversities and a lot of heartaches and a lot of difficult days. You go home confused and dazed. But that's what it took to find out if this is what I want to do. This is where I want to be. And then once I decided that I put title on myself that I'm a jewelry designer. I could be car painter. I could be I don't know, builder or some kind of something designer. But I decided, I titled myself that I'm a jewelry designer. Once I did it, everything was a lot more easier to work on the jewelry designing part of aspect of it, and then you got to ask yourself, man, like you got to go on the mirror, ask yourself, what do you want to do, who you are, what are you working for, like, and then you got to find out from your body cells. You like sometimes you feel like your hairs are standing up, you feel like your energy is like weaving over each other, and then you feel really nervous and you feel excited. You just you feel it. Once you do, you gotta know. You gotta fucking like know, bro. Like, and spiritually, you have to be calm. You have to be settled. Like you have to know that you believe that this is it. I'm gonna do it, whatever it takes. When I say spiritually, meaning you got to get connected with the source. You got to connect it. You're going to get connected with the Mother Earth, with the universe, whatever you believe in, with Allah, Buddha, whatever you believe in. Jesus Christ, and you got to go through the path, you know. And once you come out of from the other side, you're gonna be a better place, and it's gonna be worth it. So don't forget to ask yourself, what do you want to do? Who you want to become?
Yeah, so
Yeah, man, it's a weird one.
very weird. You gotta figure it out, bro. Um, so, so do you know if that's what you want to do? Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a question that could either it really is a question that can separate you from being a leader and being someone who's on on an actual path, as opposed to somebody who's just sort of going with the flow and just doing what they're told and
Mm-hmm.
pretty much following instructions for the rest of their lives. So
Mm-hmm.
I think when you really find out what is it that you want to do, you can proactively start a journey, a path that can set you off. Really the end goal to it should be mastery. Once you find out something that you want to do, your ultimate goal should be mastery. You should try to at least attempt to master whatever it is that you choose to go after. But of course it can take a little bit of time to find out what is it you want to do. And also that's a path, that's a journey in of itself, trying to figure out what is it that you want to do. So you got to start that journey first before you even start the journey of once you pick whatever it is you want to do. And so that in of itself, it's something that's not it's not something that a lot of people conceive, because most people are just comfortable, they're very easygoing, and it's much more easier to just do as you're told and follow instructions and go out there and just please people and make people happy and just go with the flow and not really have too much of complicated life, because you're just pretty much doing as you're told. And one who doesn't like to as someone who's a leader, who doesn't like it when somebody just does what they're told to do? If I tell someone to do something and they do exactly what I asked them for, I'll be happy. And so
Whether if the right or the wrong thing, right?
yeah, and so people love those people. And so, but if you want to be the one who's giving the instructions, then obviously you got to go on the path of figuring out something that you love to do. And then once you find it, then that's when you go into the journey of really pursuing it all the way until you reach mastery. Because that's really the ultimate goal, to attain that mastery and be able to really become that leader that you're looking to become eventually, and become like somebody who's respected, somebody who's looked up to. And at the same time, you're able to attain a lot of resources along the way because of your mastery. And so you'll be able to not only sustain yourself and sustain and provide for the people that you care about, but also for whoever it is that you want to help along the way, through that journey as well. Because there's a lot of people out there who may be pursuing the same thing that you have just mastered. And so it's always good to be able to pass on that knowledge to upcoming people who also have that same fire, that same passion. Which is why it's important to have passion too, because only with passion, only with you having the actual desire and love for the craft, will you actually go to certain levels where you'll attain that mastery. As opposed to if you're just doing it for reasons that are not really passionate, then most likely you'll attain some sort of success, but it won't be as massive as if you actually were passionate, you actually love the thing that you're doing. So that's why it's so important. The whole feeling the shivers and feeling excited, and the hair popping and stuff. That's a good it's a good signifier. Once you're in there. But even then, that might be just the first couple days. Eventually when you start facing difficulties, that might all go away. And so you have to face the reality that no matter what path you choose, no matter how much you love it, There will be difficulties along the way. There will be things that are not so, exciting. You won't feel so happy to do them,
Hmm.
but you got to do them anyway. And so, because remember, the ultimate goal is mastery, and so the only way to get to mastery is doing those things. So do them, but just know that at the end of the day, you're doing something that you love to do, and something that eventually will have a massive payoff in the future. And so that's really what you're going after here. And yeah, man, that's that.
Beautiful. All right, so we're gonna jump to the next because I feel like we did like 40 minutes or something.
Let's jump.
Jump. Knowing the pet and going on the pet is two different things, right? So, um,
Yeah.
do you know if you are on the right pet? Man, that's a difficult one, right?
Hmm.
The first one is not so difficult. Knowing the pet, you can plan all you want. You can plan the difficult, the easy, whatever, and once you get into the real action, real pet, then start popping out. Things are not working out. You gotta The simplest things could turn out to be difficult, most difficult thing. It's like this little thing that you want to build, and then it's part of this big giant whatever, and that little piece will give you such a hard time. Then you'll be like, what the hell? uh, it just happens, man. Like, it doesn't matter how much you plan on stuff, you cannot plan on that little thing was gonna take the most time. So knowing that, you have to understand that this is what it's gonna take. Like, it's so easy to just know the path, but actually going through the path is very not easy. It's very very different. So you gotta be ready for it, mentally, physically, spiritually. Do you know if you are on the right path? Do you know? Like, you gotta know, man. Like, if you don't know, then you gotta find out what path you want to be on. Like, like, do you want to be a master? Not everyone want to be a master. People don't want to get out of their comfort zone. If you want to, like, stay in your comfort zone, how the heck you gonna learn something and become a master of that something? And you gotta know. You gotta ask you the question, and if you are, then you gotta pay the price. You have to be willing to pay the price, because everything that you want to do and become the better in it, that's gonna have some kind of price to pay. You're gonna go late home. You're not gonna see your wife, girlfriend as much. You're probably gonna miss a bunch of gatherings and all kinds of stuff. You gotta pay the price somehow. You have to put more time here to become the master of it than start putting time on random places. So you gotta ask yourself if this is what you want. You gotta get ready for it and do it.
Yeah. Pay the price.
Pay the price, man. There's nothing free.
Cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching.
Yeah,
Um,
time,
for
all
sure.
kinds of prices to pay.
For sure. And I think whatever price it is you decide to pay will be pretty much equivalent to the payoff that you'll get pretty much at the end of it. So the more you're willing to pay, the higher the return is going to be on your hard work and everything. So definitely an equation, a formula there to consider depending on how much success you want to attain. But yeah, so knowing the path and getting on the path is two different things. Of course, like you were saying, planning and strategizing is really one thing, and really getting onto it and doing it and performing, it's a whole different thing. Because uh, when you're planning and strategizing, there's only so many things you can really think of that could possibly happen. But then once you actually do it, there's other things that can arise. But one of the primary things that usually people don't plan for is the mindset. Is really how your mindset will just, if you've never done it, your mindset will play all sorts of tricks on you once you're performing, because it's something that you've never done. And so you're stepping out of your comfort zone, and so naturally your mindset will want to put you back into it. And so there will be this constant battle of like, okay, like, you're doing it for a little while, and your mind is kind of telling you, okay, you've done it for enough, maybe you can just go back to comfort and be good again, and whatever, and you don't have to continue doing this. You did it enough. You're pretty good now. You don't have to continue on to mastery or anything like that. You can just stay at this level. You're already better than most people anyway, so
Hmm?
why even bother? Or perhaps you're already making a certain amount of money, and you're like, okay, this seems pretty good. I don't really have to make any more.
Push it anymore.
Maybe I can just settle and just and put the brake on and just live a comfortable life from now on. I've kind of made it. This is good. And yeah, and so it really depends on it. The mindset will really dictate all that. And so that's why it's important to have knowing the path, of course, and really knowing having a strong high purpose as well. And of course can change and get bigger and bigger as you progress, because naturally, once you start, who knows, maybe you actually discover that you're pretty good. So whatever purpose you chose for yourself might actually be kind of easy to attain. And so the last thing you want is to actually achieve the purpose, because early on, because then you don't give yourself enough time to really push yourself to reach mastery. So in order to reach mastery, that's going to take you a few years. And so you can't just stop at one or two and just call it, because that's really not enough to become a master of whatever it is that you're trying to do. That's just not going to be enough for you. And so that's why it's important to have a big purpose, something that seems way unattainable, because that'll keep you pushing and pushing and going after a harder and higher challenge that will demand more from you. And so we're also talking about your potential here. Expanding that potential will really be based on whatever purpose you choose. And so, all in all, do you know if you're on the right path? Well, ask yourself how happy you really are right now, like with what you have. Is your current situation, is that good enough for you? Are you happy with it? Will you be okay with just settling with what you have right now, or do you want more? Do you want to change a lot of things? Because if you are not happy with the current life, most likely you're not on the right path, and you have to adjust. You have to change something, and sometimes changing that path can be something subtle. Maybe you just have to, you know, change a few things here and there in that path, and then you can progress. But yeah.
Yes. Last question, because this is like 50 minutes or so.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
gotta kind of close it. And of course, you guys as know, this is developing mindset. We're gonna close with that kind of question. This is so the question goes: to develop your mindset on listening to the deep voices coming out of you.
Wow.
You gotta. Yesterday we were talking about deep diving,
Oh,
so we gotta explain what deep diving means. Deep voices, man.
I
Like
thought you were talking about the micro stuff.
micro is good. Micro is
You hear the voices with the micro.
microphone. Oh my god. Um, we all have voices, right? We all hear shit, but and you gotta make sense of it when you hear stuff. It's like you can't fucking lose it. Like just um, you gotta listen. Sometimes they don't mean nothing. Sometimes it means you gotta your subconscious telling you gotta do it, man. You gotta say it. Like you gotta speak out. Like when it's time, you gotta open your mouth and speak up. You gotta say what you want, and sometimes it doesn't come right. Sometimes it comes perfect, and it's not your fault. You just say it, and then hopefully however you said it, those people will take it in a right manner. You just try your best, and then, but if you don't open your mouth, you don't say it, you're kind of stuck. You're stuck at the same place, but you want change, you want something different. You got to develop your mindset about doing this. Like you gotta say it, you gotta speak up. Start. Maybe you need some kind of education about this, some kind of way of saying these things. Maybe you gotta practice it in your mind a few times. Whatever it takes, you're gonna do it. You're gonna put it out there and then hope for the best. And sometimes it takes some development on this stuff, and the show is about that. We want to develop our minds, ourselves. We want to be a better version of our selves, and pretty much this is where I'm gonna finish it, and I hope you just develop your mindset on being the best version of you.
Yeah. So develop your mindset on listening to the deep voices. The deep voices. I know, man. I don't know about the deep voices, man. I mean, I talk to myself, but I think that's about it, man. Like
Shallow voices.
I talk to myself, and then I answer to myself. So that's as far as the deep voices go.
You don't hear sometimes like some from way deep in there, somebody saying, "Save me, get me out of this
shit.
place," something like that.
Oh shit!
Oh, my
No, man. I don't do that stuff, man.
Oh shit. He doesn't. You guys do it? Please leave comment down below. I want to know.
I haven't gotten there yet. I stay clean.
Shit, you lost your key or something? He didn't get in there.
I'm clean.
He's clean.
I'm clean.
He takes shower every day.
I'm clean. I'm clean from any external substances.
External substance.
So I don't hear any
I
voices.
don't know, man. That sometimes you're gonna need some substance coming, man, from outside. You gotta utilize them.
Yeah, but not the ones that trigger voices, man. From the back.
I mean,
and
shit happens. Sometimes loud voices will start coming and telling you something.
from the back, from the deep.
Yeah.
I don't know, man, but I mean, I understand the metaphor because it's like that internal sort of thing, like I guess the intuition, really, like.
I didn't know I was gonna be able to confuse Luis here, but obviously he's looks a little bit
Very, man.
lost here, and he's trying to figure out how can you hear deep voices. Like, very difficult, but I'm sure you do. But it's not coming to him now, And
I don't, man.
yeah. Just if you guys understand what we're saying, please leave comments down below, and because I would love to know about
I don't
the
take
deep
the stuff,
voices that you guys hear.
I don't take the stuff you take, man.
I don't take anything. Come on, man. I drink water. There's a water in here. Seriously, like. And this is my coffee since morning. No, this is the number 2 coffee actually. Maybe 3, but I drink coffee a lot. And you gotta hear deep voices. It's gotta go like that, man. Like you can't hear voices coming from news or from media, from fucking like songs and shit. You gotta hear. You gotta listen, pay attention, open your ear. Deep. Your mindset on humanism. We're gonna talk voices. That would be cool. We got to make a song about that, man. You're good at
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're pretty much done with this episode, with this podcast number 86. 14 more, man.
14 more to 100.
To 100.
That's
It's going to
right.
be amazing. Yes, please leave comment down below whatever you guys think about this episode, what you guys want to hear more that we can talk about. We're definitely taking the show a little bit different direction. I hope you guys are liking it. Those of you guys watch the show, we appreciate you guys always, all the time. And leave comments. Don't forget. And remember, this is jewelry manufacturing that we do. We're designers and we design jewelry. And visit our website. We're gonna put the links down below. And Luis is gonna close it.
Yeah. So thank you very much, everybody, for joining us once again for another episode. As always, it was fun, and yeah, hope you guys like the new direction that we're taking with the podcast. And yeah, I mean, leave your comments down below as to what you guys think and what you guys take. Like he said, he would like to know what substances you guys are taking. Maybe you'll start taking some of those too.
If you take anything other than water. How
And
it helps.
if you hear deep voices, leave your experiences down below as to how those deep voices are books, of course. So you can download them in our audiobook version as well, especially with our book of mastery, since we spoke about mastery here in this podcast. It could really help you out if you want to learn more about that. Check out the book. And yeah, there's going to be links to social medias, and so you guys can follow us there. And other than that, thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Take care of yourselves, and we'll see you next week.
All right.